Well, we thought that the terminal was a very good example of a public building, very prominent, but it still was handled with quite some sensitivity. We all have been in airports, probably more than we'd like, and this is one where you actually feel a sense of light and airy space, which is relaxing. Natural light is very well used, and the high volume of the space gives it, an open and comfortable feeling. And so we thought it was well worthy of an award.
It stands out amongst airports as a place that is not only full of light, but it has a sort of strong sense of clarity and organization, so that the chaos of an airport environment is erased to some degree, which is so refreshing, and you find yourself actually happy to be in that space as opposed to wanting to get through it as fast as you possibly can.
Firstly, it's just a nice surprise to see such a large-scale public project detailed and crafted as beautifully as this one, with so much natural light and gracious space and good flow, and it has really nice places to hang out and sit, and good restaurants and all that good stuff. So it's a good project, really good project.
This was a project that we had to applaud because it is a brave project. It is a project that took a building that was no longer had any presence to it, but instead of just erasing that building, it wrapped that building with a new skin. It put again a veil around that building that was really quite beautiful and not extravagant, but made the building sort of shimmer. It created a sort of moire effect against the facade of the existing building in a way that gave it a whole new life and a whole new presence on the street. So we thought that was a brave piece and one that was really, really quite well done.
That one seems to be a very well thought out and well built rehabilitation of an old building from the 70s. The screen in particular has a nice presence behind the trees, and it seems to be a very beautifully daylit space as well.
The architect had a very elegant, skillful way of blending this veil or metal mesh over the exterior to give new life and vitality to a prior building that really wasn't very well done in the first place. And so we also appreciate when buildings can be recycled in a manner that gives them new life. It's just a more sustainable way to build in an urban setting.
Again, that's another one that's just has a very fresh feel, this bright blue logo and light quality from some of the panels that are there. It seems really good, and it seems like a great place to work, and it must stand out as a beautiful sort of breath of fresh air in the industrial park it's in.
This is a fun project because it speaks to its user. There's a narrative quality to the building in a smart way, not in a sort of dumb, blatant, in-your-face way, but in a smart way that made you pay attention and made you want to know more about the roots of what was happening in that building, the repair of these machines and the history of these machines and where these machines came from and where they're going in terms of data and information. And on top of all that, it was just really, really beautifully crafted architecture. And the landscape, as a landscape architect, was one that I have to say also spoke to me, because the integration of the architecture and the landscape was very well done.
This one, I would say that the blending of the landscape and the building from the exterior was very well done, very well handled. And then inside the space, we felt that the theme of this particular institution was carried through the architecture in the way that words and the building were blended, and also glimpses of the landscape from inside we thought were very, very powerful.
It's a great project. It's full of life. It's used. It's active. It's what we want to be happening in our cities. We very much liked the way there was a distinction between the retail component and the residential component, but at the same time it still held together as a place. The residential component in particular having some really beautiful detailing and some material use that would make it a great place to be and a great addition to an urban neighborhood. It's a project about densification of cities. It's a project about activation of cities. It's a project about living in that kind of urban environment that's really important. And it was a project that was quite beautiful as well.
That one, in particular, the housing towards the back of the project looks very, very good. The plans are good. It feels fresh. The balconies seem very usable. And the mixed use is very well done. It's nice to see a real mixed use project come alive like this.
This one we felt had a very good street presence. Vibrant place for people to gather, and where the building meets the ground and the hardscape seemed to be a perfect spot for the kind of mingling that goes along that particular urban corridor. So it's a good example of a good urban streetscape and building interface.